Welcome to Good Morning Oakcrest, your exclusive daily morning show bringing you Oakcrest news and information. Hello, everyone. I'm Tameka Harris, and it is Friday, November 30th. My, how time just flies right on by. Well, today, join us for the morning show as we bring you the council report, get updates from your resident advisory council, and then after that, author showcase featuring Miss Michele Chynoweth to talk about her latest book release entitled The Peacemaker. I'm telling you, you do not want to miss today's program. It's going to be a great one. Well, right now we get our 3-day weather forecast for today and the next few days. Christopher Tatus has the latest. And then after that, we'll get right back into the program. So make sure you stay close as Good Morning Oakcrest starts now.
Good morning, Oakcrest. I'm Chris Tatus in the WOCV Weather Center with your weather update for the day. Well, still looking snow-free as we make our way through the weekend, but next week may hold in store for it a couple of snow showers as we make our way through the week. But we'll talk about that in just a second. First, let's take a look at the current radar here in the Baltimore area. Taking a look behind me, you can see really the Baltimore area relatively clear. We do have some snow showers to the north of us right now. They're in probably the central PA region, but really they're moving in more of an easterly direction. They do have a slight south curve to them, but for the most part, they will remain clear of the Baltimore area. But what's the rest of the weekend hold in store for it? Well, first, let's take a look outside Town Center and check the current conditions. Right now outside Town Center, current temperature stands at 40 degrees. Taking a look at our 3-day forecast, you can see that today, as well as Saturday and Sunday, 3 beautiful winter-like days. Partly sunny skies with highs in the lower 50s. North winds today expected to get up to about 5 miles per hour. As we make our way into Friday night, mostly cloudy skies. There could be some areas of fog. The reasoning behind that is we're actually seeing some warmer than usual temperatures over the weekend and into next week. As you saw with our 52-degree high today, that's definitely warmer than we've seen over the last couple days where we were seeing upper 40s. Now, it's only a slight difference, but because of that slight difference, we are going to see some fog in the area as we get into the cooler temperatures of the evening hours. For Saturday morning, we're expecting cloudy skies. That fog should move out by the time a lot of people are up and moving on Saturday. We know a lot of you have some Christmas shopping that you need to get done. Hopefully that fog will have cleared out by the early morning hours. Hopefully by about 8 o'clock is when we're expecting it to really clear out. Otherwise, though, it's going to be partly cloudy skies throughout much of the day. We're expecting highs around 50 degrees and an east wind at about 5 miles per hour. For Saturday night, partly cloudy skies in the evening, becoming mostly cloudy. Again, we're going to see that patchy fog roll into the area after midnight. Lows are expected to be in the lower 40s. Now, this is going to be the warmest day of the weekend as we make our way into Sunday. Mostly cloudy skies expected in the morning, becoming partly sunny as we make our way into the afternoon. There will be, again, that patchy fog kind of hanging around, left over from the night before. We're expecting highs today in the upper 50s and a south wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. As we make our way into Sunday night, mostly cloudy skies expected with lows in the mid-40s. As we make our way into Monday, the temperatures continue to climb. 61 degrees is what we're looking at right now for our temperature on Monday. Fortunately, though, we are going to see another clear day, so this might be a great opportunity if you are planning to do any Christmas shopping. Monday might be a good day to do it. That way you avoid the rush of the weekend. You're going to have some beautiful weather to accompany you as you make your way out to the stores, because as we make our way into Tuesday, it looks like we're going to see some rain, which is going to bring along with it some cooler temperatures as we make our way throughout the rest of the week. Well, that's all for me for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, Oakcrest. Once again, my name is Chris Tatus. Have a great day, a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.
Good morning, fellow Oakcrest residents. Gene Miller here, reporting on the Residents Advisory Council meeting held on November 27th. All members of the council were present except for Marion Kushabar, who was excused. Special guests, and we only had one this time, was Associate Executive Director Mark Rousey. Mark reported that a resident town hall meeting will be held with the Board of Directors on Thursday, December 20th in the auditorium at 11 in the morning to review the 2013 business plan and to answer any questions. The Oakcrest management team will also be in attendance at this meeting. Brooks Hubbard reported for finance that the October month-end and year-to-date financial results were reviewed with Remy Ackerman, our finance director. Revenue from both independent living and assisted living exceed budget due to higher than anticipated occupancy. Assisted living continues to have a waiting list, and skilled nursing is slightly below budget for the month, but ahead of the year-to-date. The 2013 budget was approved by the Board of Directors at its meeting on November 9th. The board approved an increase in independent living monthly fees of 2% effective January 1st to offset rising costs. You should have received a notice of this in your cubby. For your convenience, a copy of the most recent RAC minutes may now be found in each of the restaurant lobbies, and it's located where the list of residents who have recently died are posted. This will allow residents to read the current minutes while awaiting their meals or at other times convenient to them without having to go to the libraries. The libraries will continue to hold copies of the previous minutes for the current year. Upcoming events include the holiday happenings on December 10th in all the lobbies from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And on December 19th, the Christmas Cup of Tea will take place at 2 p.m. in the Crestview lobby. Erin Bartkowiak of the Fitness Center will be starting a resident indoor-outdoor walking group next month. The interest meeting for this group will be held on Friday, December 7th at 11 a.m. in the Town Center classroom. The Oakcrest Veterans Tribute Book, created by Laura Selvage, is available at the Fitness Center if you would like to take a look, and it's quite a publication. And the last Memory Fitness class was held on November 15th. Surveys will go out to all Memory Fitness participants next week to see if they're interested in a monthly reunion group meeting. Finally, the portable labyrinth will once more be in the garden room until November 30th. So today is your last day to participate in this meditative experience. Louise Kaufman reported for dining services that an employee switch between Windows and the Oak Room has been made to create an opportunity for 4 employees to stretch their wings and to get to know another restaurant venue. Oak Room manager Philip Garapolo and service manager Cheryl Briggs have gone to Windows, replacing manager Steve Sweeney and service manager Tara Towns, who have relocated to the Oak Room. We wish them great success in their new locations. Finally, the Madrigal Elegant Dinner will be held on Tuesday, December 4th in the garden room with the catering chefs doing the honors. Ed Kazmarek reported for sales and marketing the following November totals. 18 folks have joined the priority list, 13 reservations have been secured, and 9 settlements have been completed. Budget is 14 settlements for November, and we are forecasting 17, which will be +2 for the end of November. Our unreserved inventory is 31 apartments. The 2012 goal is 159 settlements. We have completed 138 settlements and have 24 reservations in the pipeline, which forecasts us to be +3 on settlements by the end of the year. Congratulations to our sales and marketing team. Finally, the holiday open house, whereby residents showcase their decorated apartments, will take place on December 7th from 1 to 3 p.m., beginning in the garden room. 4 members of the council reported on various resident concerns that have been successfully completed or are still under investigation. Ernie Rehmeyer, our vice chair and nominations chair, reminds us that the RAC elections for the 2013-2014 term will take place on December 3rd, 4th, and 5th in each of the restaurant lobbies. Remember, you can only vote in the village in which you live. I want to say that again. You can only vote in the village in which you live. Finally, on a more somber note, a memorial service was held on November 23rd in the Oakcrest Village Chapel for Sam Patterson. Many residents were in attendance, including members of the current RAC, of which Sam was a member. As a sign of his dedication, Sam attended his last RAC meeting to deliver the sales and marketing report, knowing he was terminally ill. He died just 2 weeks later. Rest in peace, good friend, an inspiration to all of us. This concludes the council report for the November 27th meeting of the RAC. Thank you for your attention and have a wonderful day.
Welcome back to Author Showcase on Good Morning Oakcrest. I'm Tameka Harris. Now, our guest today is phenomenal in her own way. Her name is Michele Chynoweth, and she is going to tell us about her background as an author, as well as share about her latest work, her book entitled The Peacemaker. Now, Michele has been on Good Morning Oakcrest before, talking about her book, The Faithful One. So we're going to talk about both books today, actually. But, you know, as always, I'm so excited to welcome her back. Michele, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Well, you've brought us The Faithful One some years ago. And, you know, there has been some growth with this book since then. Talk about the growth of The Faithful One. What has been going on with your work?
The Faithful One started out self-published.
Mm-hmm.
It was a work that took me several years to complete.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran up against some difficulty. It's such a competitive market right now in the publishing world. So I put it out there, got it self-published, and it had some success. It started spreading locally mainly. And I put it out there to some Christian publishers, and one picked it up. So it was republished earlier this year for the Christian market. And since then, it's become their #1 seller.
Yeah, changed the look of it and everything.
Changed the look. But the story stayed intact. It's still a modern day story based on the book of Job.
Mm-hmm.
Very modern day, with modern day issues and characters that face real life problems. And since then, while that was all going on, becoming republished, I was writing my next story, The Peacemaker, and the same publisher picked that up and published that.
Wow.
Just came out November 1st.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, The Peacemaker, that is based on whose life in the Bible?
That is based on David.
Mm-hmm.
The Faithful One's on Job, The Peacemaker is on David and Abigail, actually. And it parallels David's story and Abigail's story in the book of Samuel 1 in the Bible. David's rise to the kingship, which is you'll find in that book, and how he comes across Abigail. Abigail is married to a mean, narcissistic drunk named Nabal. And Nabal and David are out in the fields with their troops, and Nabal crosses David, and David is out to get revenge, like wipe Nabal and his troops out. And Abigail steps in to try to make peace.
That's what happens in the Bible?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, translating it into The Peacemaker, the David character in my book is named Leif Mitchell, and it's his rise into government. And the Abigail character, Chessa Richards, is married to Darren Richards, the Nabal character. Darren Richards is a wealthy, powerful, behind-the-scenes narcissistic alcoholic U.S. senator. And the plot is Darren and Leif running for president of the United States. Chessa comes in the middle when they clash, and she needs to step in and make a decision how she's going to act, how she's going to is she going to stand by her husband, or is she going to try to bring some peace in the middle?
Dun, dun, dun. Some tension there in the
Yes,
middle, right?
Definitely.
Well, you know, some folks have a hard time translating the Bible for themselves and just reading it to enjoy it, depending on what version of the Bible you decide to use. You could use the Message Bible, the NIV, the King James. But you have such a, I don't know if it's easy for you or not as an author to translate those biblical stories and make them more current day. Do you have an issue or a challenge when it comes to translating them to current day?
It definitely takes a lot of research. I've used different research tools. The Anchor Bible series is one. It really helps me go back and look at the Bible story. But for me, the Bible stories are really hard to read. I mean, they're written so long ago, and when you hear them, you know, whether it's in church or you read the Bible, it's really hard to grasp or understand or relate sometimes. I mean, let's face it, you know, it's written back thousands of years ago. So my challenge and my mission really is to take those stories and translate them into a modern day story. But you really don't even have to be familiar with the Bible story to enjoy the book, because it is modern day with modern day characters and plots and issues.
So the Bible is just your backdrop, in other words.
Right.
Kind of that you use.
And if it brings people back to the Bible story, which I have like an index of characters, you know, both how they match in the book to the Bible story, that's great. I would love that.
Right.
But if they only read this book, they can still get the message that God is trying to get out there through the Bible story in my book. In The Peacemaker, it's the message of struggle and courage and faith in God's plan, both for, you know, me as the character and the nation, really, and, you know, people as a whole, His plan and His will for us. In the Faithful one, it was more about, there was definite struggle there and loss, and but it's more of a message of, you know, faith. Like, why are these bad things happening to me?
Right.
And how can I have faith in God despite that?
You made the character, and I'm going to speak about The Faithful one real quick because I read The Faithful one, lovely book. You made it so real. You made the characters so believable. You saw these characters played out in a way where you could really say to yourself, this could happen. You know, it didn't come across fake, though I know it's an inspirational, not fiction, correct?
Yes.
So how do you do that as an author? How do you create characters that are authentic to themselves and they come across to the reader as if they're real?
Well, some of it's drawn on personal experience. They say, write what you know. And so, for example, in The Faithful one, I went through, and I didn't realize this till, like, looking back, really. I was going through a lot that the main character, Seth Jacobs, goes through. I went through a painful divorce. I lost my business. I struggled with a health issue. And, you know, I was losing things. I, you know, was struggling with teenage kids, which he does. And, you know, they're going off their own way and you feel like you're losing them. So I, you know, wrote based on some personal experience and yet tied it into, you know, stayed true to the Bible story. And I guess that was part of my journey.
So was that your first go-to, the story of Job in the Bible? Was that your first go-to as an author and going through these personal trying times in your own life? Was that your first go-to story because of what you were going through and what you were experiencing in your own life? Or what got you to even start on this journey of translating Bible stories to become current day novels?
Well, I never set out to be
the translator.
Right. And in fact, occasionally I've said, really, God, you know, am I qualified here? I always wanted to be a writer since I was 10 years old.
Right.
And that morphed into being a news reporter when I graduated from college, to being in marketing, PR, and using my writing skills that way, you know, getting a job, paying the bills, supporting your family. but I never lost that whole wanting to write a novel. And I wrote what I thought was going to be the great American novel. It had suspense, and actually it never hit the shelves because I tried to get it published, and it did win Maryland Writers Association Fiction Novel of the Year. It got that prize and was up for representation by an agency in New York, and then 9/11 hit.
Okay.
So, challenge.
Right.
In the meantime, I'm always one to move on, so I started writing the next novel based on family relationships. You know, this one's on the shelf, I'm writing this one. Driving down the road, a thought hits me out of the blue, you should write a modern day story based on the book of Job.
It just hit
Now, that didn't come from me, but it didn't let me go, and I started little by little to write it, not realizing it was a, you know, kind of a therapeutic thing for me. But I thought, this is a good story. And I always somehow liked the book of Job in the Bible. Not a big Bible reader, actually. I wasn't up until that point. But I liked that story. So it stuck with me for years. And I started writing it. And, you know, finally, after several years, finished it. And then, you know, one thing led to another where, you know, I got the call to really do this as a ministry, if you will, and yet, you know, fulfill my purpose, I hope, and believe in life.
Well, we know you're a woman of faith, but there are some people who, if they hear the word Bible, kind of go like this, which is not a, you know, to each his own. There are Christians, there are non-Christians, there are different sects of religions and all of that. But this work that you've created, The Faithful One and The Peacemaker, you call them more of an inspirational book, meaning that they are cross-religion. You know, atheists could read this book.
Absolutely.
And understand the principles of everyday life, what goes on in everyday life, which if you read, you know, if you know that, you know, you read some Bible stories, you know that there's nothing new under the sun. The Bible has it all in there. Sex, war, you know, betrayal. I mean, there is a lot of human stories tucked in the Bible. And what I like about your work is that you bring those things out in a way that is so today, so fresh, so vibrant, so now. What have people been saying about your work when they read it? I know I've told you about my views on The Faithful One, how I just love that, and I can't wait to dig into The Peacemaker. But, you know, people, I'm sure, from different religious backgrounds or non-religious backgrounds have probably told you about how your work has touched them in some way. And I'm just curious to know what those stories are.
Well, I have spoken to different book clubs, actual like college classes, chambers of commerce. So yeah, we're talking across the board. I've had one of my biggest fans is Jewish, and she's, you know, she just loved both books. So any faith really could pick these books up and appreciate them. Yes, I do want to, I do want to say God is prevalent in them. So, however, they are, you know, full of suspense and romance and drama, just like the Bible stories, like you said. But you wouldn't have to be familiar with the Bible stories to pick this up and read it. I've been told they're very fast-paced. That's how I write. You know, it's a good. It could even be a good beach read. You know, good.
I'm telling you, it's one of those books. It's one of those books, and as a reader, I love reading. But it's one of those books that you really can't put down because you can't wait to see what is happening next. And I'm not saying that because Michelle paid me. She did not at all. This is not a paid ad or anything. But honestly, you want to know where this progression, where this situation takes a character. Although you may have heard about the story distantly from the Bible, like the book of Job and what happens in his life, you wonder as a reader, well, how is this situation that happened to Job going to be adapted to these characters? Not that, again, that you have to have that biblical knowledge, but for those who have heard of the biblical story, it's kind of like that kind of inside suspense, if you will. Like, what is going to happen to this character? Now, so after you've written these works, What has your work done for you as an author? When you look back at your work and it's done, it's completed, and you've read it and you see your name on the cover, what does that give you as an author?
It gives me a sense of fulfillment, and especially now that I have found a niche, but I'm never one to sit on my laurels, so I'm already thinking
about the
I
next
haven't put
one,
pen
right?
to paper yet, or start on the keyboard. I'm ready to write the next one. I just want to follow this dream, this purpose. I want to keep going. Write the next one.
Right. And so your niche is what? I mean, are you always going to write books inspirational that are adapted from the Bible, or are you looking to do things outside of your norm here?
Well, I do have a memoir in the works down the line, but for now, just for today, I'm going to stick to writing modern day Bible stories that hopefully will inspire the reader, inform them, maybe entertain them. You talked about different issues and plot twists, and I think The Peacemaker is full of that. You're talking about a presidential election. It is a futuristic, fictional presidential election, but you can see the parallel to this past one that we just went through, and possibly one to come. The Bible's even full of politics. So,
right.
I hope I captivate the reader with, the whole modern day presidential election, and have some twists and turns in there that'll keep them reading on.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you to actually now share with us your contact information, in case folks want to contact you, your phone number first, and then your website. Okay.
It's Michele, pronounced Chynoweth, and they can find me at my website, www.michelechinoweth.com. The books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and in local bookstores.
And then you have an upcoming book signing, actually.
I do. December 15th, 4 to 6 p.m. at Greetings and Readings in Hunt Valley, nearby. I'll be signing copies. You can always go on my website and let me know, and I'll sign and personalize copies to send out to you. So you'll find all the information you need there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Michele. Again, Michele has been our author for today for Authors Showcase, showing off The Faithful One, which has been reprinted, actually, and re-released, and then The Peacemaker, which is her latest work that has been released in November. So definitely check out this author, as we always bring you new authors to check out here on Good Morning Oakcrest. For Good Morning Oakcrest, I'm Tameka Harris. We thank you so much for watching. Have a safe weekend. We'll see you back here again on Monday.